Hi there, I'm Daniel Ray, rugby columnist with Bleacher Report, and this is the second in my series of blogs on the World Cup and all things England. So today we're going to look at a debrief from England versus Ireland. England were good, but one thing that really needs to be sorted out is passing the ball backwards. One of the first things you learn in rugby, and apparently professional players still can't quite perfect the art. So whether it was Tom Young's passing the ball forward for Johnny May's disallowed try, or the Sam Burgess pop, England lost really good field position and attacking opportunities from that most simple and basic errors. So under pressure is when core skills need to come to the fore, and that's something that I think Lancaster really needs to focus on before Fiji, and the high pressure stakes of a World Cup opening match. Selection, key part of final warm-up matches. I thought that Tom Young's was good in the loose, but his throwing at the line out wasn't up to much. And also, how much is down to him, I don't know necessarily, but the scrum seemed to be weaker again than it has been usually. We know Hartley's a better scrummager than Young's, but I wonder whether at the set piece, Jamie George of Saracens should be looked at as a real viable alternative. People who have watched Saracens over the past year will know that he has been keeping out Schalk Britt from the side when he's been fit. And John Smith, the former South Africa captain who won the World Cup in 2007, rates Jamie George very highly. Very reliable line out, extra bit of bulk in the scrum, and is a fine player in the loose as well. So for me, despite his inexperience, I would select Jamie George as the reliable option at hooker for England. Staying with the front row, I think it's slightly worrying that England's best player, I thought, from 2014, David Wilson, has really gone off the radar. Whether it's injury, he had some problems with Bath, kept him out of the Six Nations. I think it's strange that Lancaster picks him for the final squad and then doesn't give him game time if he's right for now. Key cog in 2014. Dan Cole struggled against Ireland. I think England really need to build the game on a strong set piece, and Wilson's the man to do that if he's fit, and it is a bit worrying that he's not getting any game time right now. Going into the backs now, Johnny May grabbed a lot of headlines. I thought he had his best game for England. Still a case for me of sometimes his feet move faster than his head, and his tackle in the air could have cost England more than just a penalty in some cases. So he's really got to keep thinking about the game. But physical attributes going forward in attack, very strong for May. And that's coming from a player who I think has a legitimate contender in Jack Knowles. So well done to Johnny May on that score. Sticking with the backs, Richard Wigglesworth for me has now become the number 2 scrum half. He has a very, very sharp passing game, good box kicking, a sense of marshalling the forward pack, and especially if there are Saracens in there, such as the Vunipola brothers and Jamie George. Not to mention if Farrell is playing, I think he's got a very good relationship and understanding with key England players there. In the centres, I would have liked to have seen Henry Slade on the bench ahead of Sam Burgess. I understand Lancaster wants to give Burgess more game time. For me, Slade showed what he could do even more than Burgess when he played against France at Twickenham. And it would have been interesting to see Slade line up at 13 or at 12. So I think Lancaster missed the trick in not having Henry Slade on the bench. But as for Burgess, a couple of big hits, a couple of cases where he lost the ball. Interesting things. Is that enough to get him on the bench for Fiji? It might well be the case that he is. We'll have to wait and see, because we're not really privy to Lancaster's training routine. But please get in touch. Please debate any of the points that we've made here. I look forward to receiving your comments, and I'll be doing my next video blog in time to preview England versus Fiji. The World Cup is now under 2 weeks away. Thanks for watching.